can't leave you. I can't.
What is up, party people? Welcome back to another exciting episode of bringing this S13 back to life. Back to reality. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. Today, I am back on the subframe, and just when you thought I couldn't possibly do more to a subframe, yes, I can. So I'm going to start you right off on the parts I'm going to be using. I got these Part Shop Max Subframe Bushings. Now these are the these go here, 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 here. There's 4 of them in the box. So these things are going to be the final step right before I put it in the car. And last but not least, and I tell you what, I've been waiting for these things. They've been sold out, and they finally showed up just in the nick of time. And these are the GKTECH Weld in anti-squat kit. These things are so cool. I'm actually, I love the way they made this so it's bolt on before it welds on, and I think I got the right side here. So it basically, that's the wrong side. It basically just it just does something like this. It just bolts on. You weld it on, and this is the one I left. I didn't weld this when I was doing the subframe reinforcement kit because I knew I'd be getting these. So, yeah, I'm excited to do this. Excited to wrap up the subframe, and this will wrap up. This will complete the work that I'm doing on the subframe, which would be nice. Then I put the diff in it, put it in the car. So, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. You guys sit back and enjoy. All right, let's do this. All right, this is the GKTECH Anti-Squat Reduction Kit. Now, what is anti-squat? No, it's not girls with flat butts who refuse to go to the gym. No, this is these are actually brackets that that correct the suspension location. So this is where it goes, and I will explain what it does. Look at that. Pops right in there. Bolts on. This is actually a welding piece, so I have to do a lot more work than just throwing some bolts into it. But this will get my first markings to where they need to be. Anyways, so anti-squat. Anti-squat is something that they put into this subframe. They put into suspension, and what it does is it keeps the back of the car from dropping down. So they do this to make the car more drivable, more consistent, more balanced, that type of thing. But for what we're doing for drifting, it's not ideal. We want to drop the weight on that rear tire to create the most mechanical grip we can get out of it. So yeah, and that's what we're doing. And essentially, what's changing here is it's going from this location. This is the subframe's upside down, so you're looking at the left side of the car. So this is the rear lower control arm, and what it does is it corrects it into this upper position, brings it up to about here. And this is similar to what they did to the S13. So the next generation of the 240SX, they changed this. And what's cool is GKTECH makes the kit that lets me change it to make it more modern, make it more ideal. And so yeah, I'm gonna get this thing installed, and you guys can watch me work it. Ow! As you can probably guess, you know what's about to happen next. It's welding time. I got this thing all torqued in, all in place, all cleaned up. It comes with a looks like a light powder coat on it. So yeah, either that or a black oxide. Anyways, you got to clean it off. And now I'm ready to go. Alright, so that's tacked in place. I'm going to let it cool off. This is a suspension component at a critical point, so I'm going to let it cool off, and then I'm going to come back to it and keep welding. And I'm going to do this a few times. I'll probably weld it, let it cool, weld it, let it cool, just so the thing doesn't warp, because this is a lot of welds around this area. Yeah, and I feel like if I'm spending too much time on it, we're gonna have a problem. Alright, this thing has cooled down, ready for me to put the final welds into it. Alright, that's it. Now I'll go on to the other side and be done with it. Alright, it's all tacked in place, and I'll cut this guide bracket off. That came out great, actually. You know, anytime I can get in there, cut some stuff, make some sparks, weld some things, I'm always excited. Yeah, and you know, all in all, great products. First time I've ever used it. First time I've ever had a chance to get these. They're pretty fresh, and they were on back order too. So, yeah, I mean, if you got an S13 out there and you want to update your subframe to make it more like an S14, I mean, pick these things up. They're not too expensive. They're actually pretty cheap. So, for what they do. Anyways, I'm going to move on. I got a little prep for paint, and then I'm going to get these subframe bushings in and get the diff in, get this thing back in the car. Yeah! All right, so all the fabrication is done on the subframe, and it is freshly powder coated. I threw some sparkle in there because you know. Last thing to do is to press in these subframe riser bushings from Part Shop Max, and basically install the diff and get this thing ready to install. Yeah, I love it when it gets to this part. It's so close to finish. Oh, I'm so close. I could taste it. All right, well, I'm going to pop these things in the freezer so they shrink a little bit, making installation a little bit easier. And then I'll be throwing these things in. Yes. Yes. All right, so I got these subframe bushings out of the freezer. They are frozen. They shrink. Aluminum shrinks when you freeze it, so that's why you put them in the freezer. Now, they install pretty easily most of the times if you clean out all this material. I used a drill with a sanding disc to get all that stuff out. And sometimes they go in really easy. Actually, sometimes they're a little difficult. But I think this will go in pretty nicely. Let's give it a go. Bam! Just like that. I love it when they when everything goes right. So I'm gonna do the rest of them and get the diff bolt in this thing. Moving on. Yeah. That's in. All the Part Shop Max subframe bushings are installed. That's actually a pretty easy install. And I love it. I love it when you're doing something. And, you know, most of the time when I'm working on cars, I feel like it's always going to be complicated. There's always going to be something that's going to be a problem. And I'm not looking at it from a negative perspective. I'm just looking at it like I got to be prepared. I got to make sure I have all the right hardware, some spares, this and that. But these things went in super easy, you know, as does all the Part Shop Max stuff. So, yeah, now I'm going to install the diff and get this thing closer to bolting in the car. Well, that's it. Wow. Ain't she purty? You know, I've done a ton to this subframe. I've essentially lifted the subframe in the car, fixing the roll centers. I've fixed the anti-squat on it. I've reinforced it. I've gotten rid of the eccentric holes by welding washers on them. And, you know, I've done some clearancing so it fits right. This is probably the most you can do to a subframe on a drift car. But you know what? It's worth it. And one of the things while I'm there, I'm always like, well, you know, while you're in there, you might as well. And so I might as weld on this. But yeah, looking forward to getting this in the car and looking forward to getting sideways. All right. So that completes this episode. You guys stay tuned and I'll keep bringing them to you. All right. See ya. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. See you guys next time.